Good morning, it's May 6th, and here I am again. Yesterday's live stream was not a success. YouTube live stream failed about half an hour in, and the Facebook one had no sound, and nothing I've done. And when I look it up, it seems that Facebook has at times had this problem with many people for various reasons, so it's definitely a Facebook issue. Nothing I can do. So I hope I have sound this morning. If you're on Facebook and you see this and you can hear me, let me know. Again, most people watch this, most people, some people watch this, are more likely to watch the recording of this, and in which case, none of that matters. You can see that green popping out on the trees now. It's that faint spring green. So my plan today is to walk south through Lakeview. I know it takes about half an hour to walk down to the Golden Mile Center area. Walk down there, walk back again, should be my hour. That's the plan. It's about 8 degrees as I set out, so pretty pleasant. Just sweater weather. And yeah, that's the plan. Walk down this side for a change. There's people down there, and anyway, I don't usually walk down this side, so. I have some nonfiction stuff that I thought I would get done yesterday, but there was some confusion. So I have to do it as soon as I get back this morning. And then it'll be Tangled Stars, which I'm finally plugging ahead with after going through everything I'd already written. Here, woodpecker somewhere. Not much else. We went last night and started looking at building materials for the deck we hope to build this summer and extension. Well, we're not going to build it personally, but having it built. I'm not much of a handyman. I would never undertake a project like that. If I'm lucky, I can fix a drawer or, you know, tighten a screw, but that's about the limit of my handyman abilities. I have to get across the creek, so we'll start by going up onto the dike. If you are watching this live, let me know with a note. If you're on Facebook and watching it and can hear me, please let me know. Or can't hear me. Not that I can do anything about it. Although I suppose if you can't hear me, you didn't hear me just ask you to give me a note if you can't hear me. If you're not here, raise your hands. It's like very spring now, early spring, but still definitely springy. Which one would hope by May the 6th? We're past the April showers. We're supposed to be in our case it was snow flurries, supposed to be into the flowers that bloom in May. My connection issues are annoying, but we were watching a little bit of Walking Commuter again yesterday, the guy in Manhattan that kind of inspired all this. And he was having buffering issues right in downtown Manhattan, so it's not just me. And the Facebook thing does seem to be a known problem that other people have encountered, so I don't think it had anything to do with me, and nothing I can do to fix it, unfortunately. It's a Facebook issue. enough to sit outside this afternoon once the sun gets around to the backyard. Can be nice to sit out there and work for a while. Not on the nonfiction stuff. I need to do that in my office on the bigger computer. I need to have two screens open at once, two windows side by side, so that's a much bigger monitor than my laptop. It's still a Mac. It's an iMac. I went all Mac a few years ago after being a Windows guy for a long time. Still have a Windows machine, hasn't been turned on in years. Windows 7, I think. I don't know what would happen if I turned it on. Probably go crazy trying to update. Haven't needed to turn it on because all the data is all that matters, and it's all been transferred over. I guess there's programs on there that I used to use I don't use anymore, but that's about it. Okay, here's our friend the footbridge. Sounds like a children's book. Your friend the footbridge. We'll go straight across and just keep walking south. Is the plan. So, oh, there's my unstable internet connection warning. Why I get it here, I have no idea. It should be a clear signal out here. Never used to. That's not Facebook, that's something to do with cellular coverage, or maybe my phone is having a problem. Not getting the signal as strongly as it should, I don't know. Always dogs. Dogs, dogs, dogs. I put the cotton ball, it's not a whole bowl, B-O-L, but B-A-L-L, small one, over the microphone again today. So I'll have to check the sound when I get back. There's more wind noise without it than with it, so I think it does some good. And change sides. Because there's a truck or something down there. Blocking the sidewalk. Couple of the modern houses in the neighborhood. Right next door to one of the older ones. Sign for CJTR 91.3 The Film. I used to have a show on, I used to host a radio program on CJTR called, what's it called? It was a play on can't remember now. Stupid. This is Lakeview United, not Lakeview United School, Lakeview School. Lakeview United Church is not far away. Ars Longa Missa Brevis. There was a play on that. I don't know exactly what we called it. Anyway, I used to do interviews with people about artsy things. But I stopped after a while. It's all volunteer. But I guess I kind of revived it when I went to, that's like the United Church, or when I went to the podcast, World Shapers, theworldshapers.com, where I interview other science fiction and fantasy authors about the creative process, from which I have gotten one anthology that I kickstarted last year featuring first-year guests, and I've just successfully kickstarted volume 2 featuring second-year guests, and I'm now working on making that happen. Stories coming in, money going out, backers rewards going out. I'm watching this one be built. Gone by it a few times now. If you're there, leave me a note, just so I know somebody's with me. I'm always talking to myself when I do these things, but it's nice to at least imagine there's somebody on the other end as I'm doing it. And even better, to know for sure. Is McCallum? Still heading south. Let me guess, somebody trimming trees, that sounds like. Trimming brush. Yeah, there's a cherry picker up there. That looks like might be Sask Power. Except it's on the wrong side. I don't know. If they're taking down a tree or just trimming one. Yeah, there's Roger. Do I have sound? Oh, Roger, do I have sound? That's the big question. It says I never walk alone. Well, sometimes I do. Another modern one there. A very bright yellow door. Cheery yellow door. Unstable internet connection. Ah, good. It does indeed sound like me. If it sounded like somebody else, that'd really be something. Possibly an improvement, but just pressing south. We're going to go south all the way to the Golden Mile and then walk back up Albert on the other side. That's the plan. Should be about an hour, maybe a bit more. Tomorrow is the traditional, after a month, walk around the lake. Not in the snow this time, which it was just a couple of weeks ago. There had been fresh snow. That was 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. Maybe that was 3 weeks ago now. No risk of that tomorrow. I might mail some of my backers rewards this afternoon. I have 2 people that, this is for the Kickstarter. I have 2 people who are getting hardcover collections of my Masks of Agreement trilogy written as E.C. Blake. So I've got 2 sets of those in hardcover to send out. I might do that this afternoon. The big mail out will be all the people who wanted a copy of the first anthology. There's about 20 to 30 of those that I will have to package up and mail out. But I need some. Well, for one thing, I need envelopes. Now, I'm going to run into a schoolyard here. We'll walk as far as we can. I could probably walk through the schoolyard, but it might be considered odd. So we'll go down the alley instead. The dog just came out. I don't know what school that is. I've walked by it before, and there's a church, so it's obviously a Catholic school. Morning. No, there's the school. I think I've come this far and then gone that way. But today, I'll zigzag this way a bit. Do I stick to the alley? Do I get to the street? I should go to the street, probably. More interesting than the alley. Oh, but it's a paved alley. I'll walk down the alley? Maybe I'll walk down the alley. I've walked down a lot of streets, not nearly as many alleys. Garbage bins and recycle bins. There's the aforementioned school with a lot of sort of temporary classrooms added onto it. And there's the church, the parish hall. Again, I don't know the name of the church from this direction. I've walked in front of it before, but I don't remember what it was. So I know it's working on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, leave me a note as well. I usually get back and find there's been, 3 or 4 people who've checked out Facebook at least while I'm doing it. They don't necessarily leave a comment. These temporary classrooms. Probably fairly permanent. Don't know how long they've been there. Clearly, the local kid population outgrew the original school building at some point. That's what fences are for. Those dogs were not pleased to see me in their alley. Haven't had too many hostile encounters while walking so far. Haven't run into any mean dogs. I did go out of my way yesterday because I was over by the Regina General Hospital, and when I was going to walk by in front, the security guards were having words with an individual who was not happy with them. So I decided not to walk by with my camera just at that moment. Seemed like a wise choice. Went out of my way a bit to avoid it. They were clearly telling somebody not to hang around somewhere. Where are we? This is Westgate Avenue. Well, I know people who live on that down across Argyle to my right. Argyle angles westward as it keeps coming south. So whereas we were several blocks away from it, or Elphinstone, it turns into Argyle. When I went across the footbridge, it's getting closer and closer on our right as I walk south-ish. There's been some curves. I'm not sure if I'm going due south right now or not. Certainly warm. Look at all that greenery. That bush is a good halfway to being fully leafed out. Oh, there's another note there. What's it say? Favorite alley in Regina. Very few people probably have a favorite alley. The one behind Quinn Drive near the Science Center. I'm going to walk over to the Science Center one of these days. Since I used to work there, it'd be fun to probably park closer instead of starting from home and then maybe park at the marina and then walk to the Science Center and out to Douglas Park, up on the hill there. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow's the walk around the lake. Might do it this weekend. Last weekend I walked to the university, which was fun, even if I did get trapped. I walked into I would call it the quad, but I guess they call it the academic green, and discovered that all the doors out of the academic green were locked. You couldn't get into any of the buildings even to just pass through. And I didn't want to go back the way I'd come, so I kind of wandered around the perimeter of that for a little bit, looking for a way out, and finally went up some steps and down some steps and escaped. I felt like a rat in a maze. Assiniboine Avenue. There's somebody who lived on Assiniboine too. I mentioned last time I was down here. Let's see. I think we want to go left. Again, Argyle is closing in on me from the right, so this takes me closer to Albert, which is the way I'll be walking back. Grass is certainly green. I noticed watching a little bit of yesterday's walk that the camera really kind of heightens the colors in a way. It actually looks more colorful on the TV than it does to my eyes, which is interesting. Less subtlety. I mean, your eyes are still way more subtle at picking things up than most cameras, but it certainly looks good on the TV. Now, there's so many places along the way where there could be settings that affect that, not afflicted. Maybe I have the TV set for more vibrant colors, I'm not sure. Ray Street. So we're getting close to Albert, for sure, going this way. I'm gonna switch hands for a bit, my arm's getting tired. I walked down Angus when I came down this way last time and realized it was about a half-hour walk down to 25th up against the Golden Mile Center. So this is all new territory. I haven't walked along this particular street before, which, you know, means I don't have to sing that song for My Fair Lady. I have often walked down this street before. Should mention again, you should still be able to get tickets to Flip the Script, Broadway in Reverse, which is the Regina Lyric Musical Theater show I'm in. We recorded gender-swapped Broadway songs, and that runs this Friday and Saturday, and Sunday afternoon. Friday and Saturday evening and Sunday afternoon. I remember going by this house, so maybe I have now. Yeah, because Albert is quite close to me over there. Maybe I am back on familiar territory here. So I like this house. And nice landscaping too. Anyway, you go to reginalyric.com. You can get tickets, watch it from anywhere in the world, no matter where you live and you're watching this, you can get tickets. $25 Canadian for a household. Watch it online. I'm doing a female quartet, all 4 parts, and the costuming is really something to behold. And my wife and I did a duet, but she's doing the male half of the duet. And my daughter's doing a song that's usually sung by a man. So there's lots of Willett representation in it. Flip the script. Go to reginalyric.com. You can buy tickets and watch it. It will be good. Some very, very talented people involved, not just us. Although, you know, we're not untalented, but there's water here. Is there a sprinkler that's been coming over the fence? That's what it looks like. Doesn't seem to be happening now, though. It smells like rain. We could use some rain. More dogs letting me know that they know I'm here. Christmas lights. Still in that bush. Probably there year round. Be a pain to take them down and put them up again. Besides, it's already May. It'll be winter again in 4 months, so. Or at least the first snowfall is a possibility within about 4 months. It won't be winter, but there'll be risk of frost and all that stuff in just 4 months. That'll be the beginning of September. That's depressing. I shouldn't think about that when I'm walking on a beautiful spring day. So I think we're getting pretty close. And I'll just get over to Albert and we'll head back up Albert. So I think I ended up on this same road coming down south on Angus, because Angus doesn't go through. And at this point, Argyle is only a block or so away to the right, maybe 2. And I'll go to the other side because I want to be there shortly. You can see the Golden Mile Center. That's a shopping mall ahead of us. I guess it's still called that. It was basically torn down and rebuilt. It's not much of the old mall actually left, I don't think. And we'll go left to Albert and straight back the way we came. And yeah, this has taken me about a half an hour to get down here. So good to know for future planning purposes. Now, if I wanted to walk on from here to, say, Chapters, it'd probably be another half hour down South Albert. 20 minutes anyway. So walking to the bookstore and walking back with books you bought would be a good 2.5 hour proposition from the house, I guess. Never done that. Unlikely to. You see, we've close to just 1 block of Albert down there. And 1 or 2 blocks to Argyle in the other direction. And there's the Golden Mile Center, if that's still what they call it. I know Facebook is working this morning. If you're on YouTube and are watching this, drop me a note. Just to say hi, so I know you're there. This will be up later in all its pre-recorded glory. Which may be how you're watching it, in which case, well, you can still leave a like or a comment, obviously. I won't see it as I walk. Unless you're a time traveler. And if you're a time traveler, I really would like you to get in touch with me. I have some questions about the future I'd like to ask you. You know, where do I invest my money today to be fabulously wealthy in 10 years? That'd be a good question. co-op grocery store over there. Used to be a Safeway on the other corner. If you went down this way, there's a high school. But we're not going down past the high school on this trip. We'll just cross Albert, walk up the other side. There's parts of that I've walked going south, but I've never walked going north, so it's a little bit new. I always worry about buses and their sticking out mirrors when they come up to the curb and you're on the sidewalk. It seems like a really unfortunate way to die. Although that whole, you know, you could be hit by a bus tomorrow, it's kind of a cliche, but I'd rather not live it. So that's South Albert, which is all, and there's ours, all commercial. This is the dividing line between residential and commercial down Albert. Well, residential on my left, more institutional on the right, I guess. So, might as well take a walk down along the sidewalk here. Marion Gardens is a retirement condo kind of place. Some nice trees here to block the sound a little bit from Albert. Nicely landscaped. I've known people who lived here. I can't remember if I've ever been in one of them, maybe once. It's kind of the interior courtyard there. This is just a drive, there's no sidewalk here. Definitely knew somebody who lived in this part. There's a higher care, areas where you have higher levels of care, areas that are more just condos. So, used to know somebody who lived there, and I'd pick her up sometimes to take her places here. She was interested in theater, music, and so we would take her to some of the things like that. Often the lyric stuff that we were involved in. We've done lyric musical theater, the ones doing Flip the Script. Broadway had reversed this weekend. All right, I'll go back to the sidewalk now. There you go, more of Marion Gardens. It does go on. Large complex. Yeah, very long, straight walk home. Although I will move over to the right and walk along the access road off of Albert once I get a little further down to avoid the noise. The intersection up here is where I have walked to and then turned left and gone over past Wascana Rehab and into the pathways over there. This is Regina Christian School coming up on our right. So I imagine those are their students out there. Nice big open yard they have here. The old school building they're in used to be a boys' school, I'm told. I think I've been in it, but barely. long classroom, probably for a school reading or something. It's the back of it there. Seem to be having either its classes haven't started yet or they're having some sort of outdoor phys ed class or something. Everybody trekking back into the school. Classes should have started. It's 9:45, so 8:45, not 9:45. Better not be 9:45. And it's a K to 12, I think, so that's why it's not just a high school. So there's the kids' playground there. My daughter has a friend who went there. They were in Do It With Class Young People's Theater together. One of these days I'll walk down by where our daughter went to school, Luther College High School. A little far. Well, the walk from the house wouldn't be too bad, but then if you had to walk back again, it would become quite long. So I'd want to park a bit closer. If you go down there, then it's also a government house and the old Northwest Territories Administration Building. It's one of the first legislative building back when Regina was capital of the Northwest Territories. Most of what is now Western and Northwestern Canada was governed from Regina at one point. There's the entering Wascana Center, and there's the Mackenzie, T.C. Douglas building where the Mackenzie Art Gallery is. And I've walked both in front of and behind several times. And as soon as it makes sense, I'll move off of Albert here and walk a little ways. Is inland the right word? If you think of Albert as a pretty houses along here. If you think of Albert Street as a river of cars, then I suppose it is walking inland. So we'll walk inland here. When I went to the university, I pointed out the what's the name? Le Jardin de Plaisir, is that it? Anyway, the big Fafard piece over there, Joe Fafard. Here's some Joe Fafard cows he's famous for. And there's this piece of art here out front too. I don't know the name of it. There's probably a plaque somewhere. And there's the main entrance to the T.C. Douglas building and the Mackenzie Art Gallery. The gallery's sort of the wing to the left as we're looking at it. I'll walk on the grass here until I get around the bend. So watch out for gopher holes. There's plenty of gophers around the Mackenzie Art Gallery. Usually in the right up against the building. I know they have lots of them most years. I can pick up the sidewalk over there, which I will do. And view of the front. So I've come this way, going the other way. This is the first time I walked this way, going this way. Oh, good time to leave a comment. I can see really clearly here in the shade. It's the sun that does in my poor old eyes. I have to stop and peer in order to read stuff. Probably have to stop anyway, even in the shade. The vibration makes it difficult too. But I don't know to wear reading glasses when I walk around outside. That would look silly or feel silly, and it would just make everything past a certain distance blurry. So what's the point of that? It's not like I have that many comments to read. only got 3 this morning so far, all from Roger on Facebook. See the legislative building starting to peek up through the trees up there. Certainly been in that government building. I did some work for one of the departments that's in there, so I was up there a few times. It used to be green. They redid it a few years ago. You know the kind of green I mean, that kind of 50s, 60s green paneling you still see on some buildings. Like the post office downtown still has it, I think. And of course there's geese. There's always geese. There is a song running through my head, but I can't tell you what it is because it's one of the songs from I flipped the script, Broadway Reverse, the lyric show I talked about, reginelyric.com if you want to get tickets and watch it this weekend. And it's a song my wife and I sing as a duet, so I can't tell you what it is because it's supposed to be a surprise. I did actually give it away on a walk very early on. But you'd have a hard time finding it now without watching all 30 or 40, however many walks there are now. You probably don't have a week to devote to that. So by the time you found where I said it, the show would already be on tomorrow night. It's nice to walk a little off of Albert. The Albert sidewalk is very long and very straight. It has trees on it, but not much interest otherwise, and always cars going by. So much quieter over here. Careful, I don't stop myself. I will be actually singing that song under my breath. And if you know enough Broadway, you might recognize it. Unstable internet connection, briefly. When they could be here with all these government buildings around. This is the Walter Scott building, I believe, named after the first premier of the province, who also built the legislative building. Or not personally, but he was the premier when it was built. And I portrayed him a couple of times for the Hill Companies when they celebrated their centennial a few years ago. Once here in Regina, had a nice dinner. My purpose was I had brought a time machine, H.G. Wells time machine, gotten hold of it, come forward to see how the province had fared since I was premier. And that went over well, and so the Hill Companies flew me to Calgary to do it again for their Calgary people. And one of the I presume the premier of the time, probably Lord Calvert, was here when I did it here. And when I went to Calgary, Ralph Klein was, yeah, this is the Walter Scott building. Ralph Klein was premier of Alberta, and he was in the audience. And since I had some poking fun at Alberta a little bit in my script, I got to make fun of Alberta in front of Ralph Klein, which was fun. I've done a little bit of that sort of corporate theater, not a lot. Ruth Smiley, when she was artistic director at Globe, she only ever used me in a Globe show once, but she did suggest me for a couple of those kinds of things, and I did a couple of them. I remember one at the, oh, where was that? The Turvey Center, maybe? And I don't remember who it was for. I remember doing it. And I did one for for the Saskatchewan Union of Nurses, I think. Went over well, both of them. And the hill one, so I'm trying to think if there were any others. Well, at the Science Center, I shot a whole video that I wrote the script for and did the voice. It was an alien visiting the Science Center and trying to figure out what it was all about. And I would love to have a copy of that, but I don't. It was on VHS. Well, I might on VHS tape somewhere. Digitizing it would be a pain. We have a VHS player in the basement somewhere. Whether it still works or not, I don't know. We have a bunch of VHS tapes, but you know, now that we're used to Blu-ray and streaming high def and all that, a VHS tape looks pretty sad. And anything that you've got on it is available streaming, most likely. And here we are going by the ledge. The ledge of Saskatchewan Legislative Building. Through the trees. So I've, of course, walked along this stretch many times. I know I shot that. I wrote the script. Maybe I didn't shoot it. And somebody must have edited it. Oh, I know. I think it was done for Access Communications cable company, so they did the editing, I think. I don't know, it's been a very long time. I worked at the Science Center from 88 to 93. So it's coming up on 30 years since I left. Still a lot of my words on the walls, though. This is the War Memorial over here, First World War and others. This is like the Provincial War Memorial. The civic one, the city one, is the Cenotaph downtown that I've gone by a few times. You can see the lists of names on the plaques there. For a small province, heavy toll. It's in the shade from this direction this morning, but there's the side of the building one last time. Oof. So I'll walk up here, catch the path, take the underpass, and home lickety split. So far, only Roger on Facebook has checked in at one point. If you're on Facebook and have been watching, running out of time to leave me a note. And if you're on YouTube, same thing. I'm hoping YouTube stayed up today. I had a couple of spots of unstable internet, but when it failed on my way to the university, I got a message and was able to restart the feed. Well, start a new feed to finish it off. But yesterday it failed, and if there was a notice, I missed it. Why is somebody sitting here with their car running? I'm getting an unstable internet warning right now, so we'll see. I love seeing this flush of green in the plants. And over to the bridge. Not to the bridge, but close to the bridge. A little tour of the washrooms. There they are. I've walked by these washrooms many times. I've never been inside them. I'm going to start with a camera. And there's the Albert Street Bridge. Long, long bridge over not much water. And here's the path, which tomorrow, when we get to this point, will be because I walked around the lake. Won't be at this point, but where we're about to be on the path. I have gone over an hour, it looks like. So, a little longer than I thought it might be. I thought it might be right around an hour. That's okay. It's a great way to start the day. Even if nobody's watching on YouTube. Or hardly anybody on Facebook. Most of the views come in on the recording. Which means that's likely how you're watching it right now. Water's very blue this morning. Flush of green in the trees, just beginning in places. Some of them still look quite brown. A big group of people over there, for some reason. Good view of the bridge as you walk along here. See just how long it is, and notice how we are not actually on water yet. Oh look, here's some water. So this is actually the dam that forms the lake. That's only part of the lake. We walked along another big chunk of it when we went to, I keep saying we, and maybe you were there, to university. But it's all formed from Westgana Creek encountering this dam. So this is the spillway here. And then it flows under there into the creek, along which I've walked many times and over which we crossed on the footbridge at the start of this walk. And now we will come up to the underpass, and we're just a couple of blocks from home. So really getting to the last chance to say hi if you're on there watching live. You can go up or you can go down. We'll go down. Oh, maybe I have. Can't remember if I went through the underpass last week around the lake or not. If I did, this is only the second time I've walked through it from this direction. I think I did. So it's not the first time. See, you always see graffiti here. It's just too dark and hidden away not to attract vandals. I've never understood graffiti or why you want to spoil somebody else's property. Never understood it. like this house. Always wanted to see inside it. Haven't yet. I like the fact that it has lions on the stem, for one thing. Very New York Public Library of it. Big spruce here. And again, that's where Wally Knight lives in my young adult series, Shards of Excalibur, down that, in a fictional house at the end of that, Harrington Mews. Angus Boulevard, which will follow to the alley between Leopold and Angus Crescent, which connects at one end to Angus Street, as Mr. Angus gets his fair due. Very close now. I'm thirsty. Let's talking and walking. And somebody else watering. It has been dry since the snow melted, although we had some late snows that would have given a good dose of moisture, but no rain to speak of now for a couple of weeks. So it would be nice to get some. There was some in the long-range forecast at one point, but it never materialized. I probably won't walk if it rains. The phone might be okay. It's supposed to be water resistant, but the gimbal isn't. I don't think I want to get it wet. Not really wet. A sprinkle is one thing, but an actual soaking rain, definitely not. Nor would it be much fun to walk in. So I couldn't carry an umbrella and this. Davin School ahead of us. Here's our Angus Crescent. Just a short distance to the left and I'll be done. How long was this? Oh, actually, I thought it was over an hour, but I misread that. We're just now coming up on an hour, so I did judge it almost exactly what I thought it would be based on my previous walk down that way. So yay me. Okay, so that'll do. Thank you for watching, whether live or recording. And join me tomorrow for the traditional Friday walk around Wascana Lake. Bye for now.